Hi everyone, this is Alex here, and I've got Dr. George Thien here with me to have a quick chat about his new book that he just released recently. Um, congratulations to you, Dr. George. And how are you doing today?
Fine, thank you very much. The weather is fine, so everything seems to be good.
Awesome. And thanks for spending time having a quick chat with me, and I really appreciate that a lot. And just to give it a quick intro, Dr. George Thien has hold an honors degree in an MBA from University in UK and a PhD in corporate social responsibility from University in New Zealand. Dr. Thien has combination of academic qualifications, teaching, practical business experiences, social and community volunteering across the globe. In addition to his passion for helping businesses and people to grow and succeed in life. So I would like to start with a couple of questions, Dr. George, because I find it intrigued reading this book, and I wish I would have got this book in my hand early because of the life spent for the past 20, 30 years. There are a lot of stumbling block in life that really hold certain person from growing. And I would like to ask just a couple of questions to start with so our viewers can get some values out of it. So the first question is, what subject do you lecture in Auckland University, and how long have you been in the education industry?
I started becoming an academia in 2004, and I have always taught business management, managing and organizing, business subjects like entrepreneurship, managing of small, medium-sized businesses. These are not just from my practical experience, where I have had experience in terms of managing organizations, starting businesses, as well as research that I do when I join the academia that commensurate with all my other two degrees. The first one being economics and accounting, and the second degree is MBA. Both are from the UK, and the third is also management related. It's on corporate social responsibility.
Awesome. And in the total span of being in that industry, how long have you been in that industry now since you first started?
17 years in the in New Zealand, but prior to that, I did a few part-time teaching for a UK university as well as an Australian university, teaching Bachelor of Business undergrads as well as the MBA program. So those were probably another 2 years added on, so nearly 20 years.
Awesome. Wow. Okay, cool. Now, what drives you to be a university lecturer as a profession?
It's actually an accidental choice. I had wanted to get a doctorate degree because at that time I was a management consultant. So I thought with a doctorate degree that would enhance my credibility and my knowledge to help people. So when I started the doctorate degree, I got into those topics and research deeper and deeper, and I found that, wow, this is exciting. Of course, initially it's very, very different. I had to adapt from the real practical world in terms of going against your competitors to fight for sales and revenues, to something that's very quiet and subdued, where a lot of things are done by your own effort, a lot of thinking on your own, and talking about a lot of things in terms of theories, models, concepts, etc. Nothing about, hey, how much revenue are you going to bring in this month or this year, where things that I was used to, because I used to work for a merchant bank where I helped to do a lot of these corporate exercises and banking. So that's a very different world in the academic world. And I got hooked into it, and then I started part-time teaching, and very soon, well, in fact, within a couple of weeks from a part-timer, I became a full-timer teaching whilst doing my PhD.
Wow, that's interesting. Yeah, because it's very interesting, like how a profession can evolve, and like what you said about understanding the mechanism behind business running it, because the outcome of the successful business is the numbers. So before the numbers, there are things that you need to work on it, and that is very valuable for anyone who wants to start the business. We just work on what needs to be done, because the money will come. And cool. Now, what inspired you to pen this book?
Well, Alex, it's a long story. There's a lot of inspiration behind writing that book. I've been getting a lot of feedbacks from students since 2004, and they have been really encouraged for my effort to help them to succeed in their studies, and even to the extent that some of them write me emails all of a sudden in my inbox saying, "Dr. Thien, can you still remember me?" Probably not. I was in your class in 2006, and you were talking about this managing of teams or team development. It was a Tuckman's model, 1965. There were 4 stages of it: forming, storming, norming, performing. I couldn't be bothered at that time. I didn't understand it. I didn't want to really learn it. But now I'm managing a company, and I found that, wow, so that's what it means. So thank you, Dr. Thien. So stories like this really, really inspired me and make me feel that I am actually contributing and helping people without even knowing it. So writing this book, I think, is also to help people who I have not taught, or even helping those whom I have taught. They can maybe refer to it as a revision book to help and continue to inspire them. And because the book is all about helping oneself to achieve goals, to achieve ambitions, to achieve objectives, to achieve aims. So it's useful. It's meant to help people who are involved in sports, for example. They have an ambition to win an Olympic gold medal, maybe. And it's also helpful for business people who want to increase their sales, maybe, or increase their profit, or increase their number of clients, maybe. Yeah, and it's also helpful, this book, for people who are in the career path, where they are aiming to become a senior manager, a director, a general manager, etc., etc. So it's all about achieving goals and achieving ambitions.
No, that's awesome, because well, like what you mentioned about, like people who are working, who has certain goal of achieving a certain position in the company that they dream of, and also business owners. And I believe that you have quite a lot of involvement with all the on the SME categories of business owner. Is that right?
Yes, I'm a volunteer for this business mentoring for this Auckland Chamber of Commerce. So I get sent a couple of business SMEs, small, medium-sized businesses, for me to mentor. And these are my gift back to society. These are like my corporate social responsibility, if you like, to help. And it's my passion to help business. I like listening to and helping business to grow. I suppose it's from my banking days when I really want my customers to do well so that they can service their loans and pay me interest, so that my boss can pay me my bonus and my salary. So continuing that on from here, now I'm helping little businesses. Of course, some of them had been successful. Some of them may not be so successful, and there are various reasons for it. And I personally believe that it's always to do with attitude. So, for example, in this COVID-19 period, I have clients who were not bothered because it's COVID-19. They'll just wait for benefits from the government to come in. And yet, at the same time, I have clients who did something different. And they've been successful during the COVID-19 period. So it's all about attitude.
That's awesome. Now, well, because that's really interesting, because we have gone through a scenario as well. It is how you look at that situation, and I believe this book also applies to people who have small little goals in life. Say, for example, they would like to get back the state of their health in their desired point, and it is not just, I mean, the getting someone be accountable is part of it, but the self sort of identity that you're trying to define what you actually want. And I believe that book also is a good reminder as well. It is a really good, easy read book, but it just lay out fundamentals that you need to remind yourself. So I think that also applies on the health and personal development space. Is that right?
You're right, Alex. In terms of health, it could be a goal. For example, you want to get a six-pack. For example, you want to reduce your blood pressure. For example, you want to reduce whatever ailments that you may have. So essentially, that's a goal. And that's something that you want to achieve. And the process of achieving any goal, there's a structure behind it. There are, like you said, elements behind it. For example, the ABA factors. Yeah. So you must have some aspiration, some ambition, for example, to achieve better health. Yeah. And we talk about the A here means that you need to be very specific. If you want to reduce your blood pressure, for example, from 180 to 160 to 150, whatever, be very specific about it. So if you're not specific about it, then you just want to be better. It is kind of hard to know whether you have arrived at your goal or not. And then the second part is the belief system. Do you really believe that you can achieve your health goal? If you somewhat half-heartedly think that, yeah, maybe I'll try my best. Well, with those kind of attitude, then you may be facing problems in achieving your goal. So the belief system, that's relating to a determination. You know, you strongly believe you will reduce your blood pressure, for example. That will help a lot. And the third factor in the ABA factor is the actions. So if you have a specific ambition in terms of health, and if you have a belief, strong belief in terms of better health, but you don't take any actions, you won't achieve that goal. Similarly, if you take a lot of actions, but you don't have that belief system, you are a bit skeptical, doubtful about whether it can be achieved or not, then again, that's also a problem. So sometimes people do not achieve goals is because one of the ABA factors was not well thought through, and it needs reminding so that you can get a smoother path to achieve your goals.
No, that's awesome. Well, that is just a bullet points of part of the couple four key chapters which is in the book, and these are really good. Now the next question is, Dr. Thien, how do you see traditional education system disrupted by the fast-growing pace of information age?
Yeah, I think that's a very good question for me because I'm involved in the education department, Alex. Now, I think one of the things that I see, I make a comparison with myself. During my time back in the 70s, 80s, when I had to do research, the information system, the internet systems were not, well, probably non-existent or very, very minimal. And if you compare now, you have information at your fingertips. So obviously, with fingertips, information at your fingertips, the quality of your work, the product of your work, the end product of your work should be of a higher quality because you have all those information that are ready at your fingertips. Now, that depends very, very much on your attitude. Like I said, COVID-19 is a time, there are people who strive on it, even though they're stuck. And yet there are people who get worse and mourn about it. So with all this information, because of IT, if your attitude is, oh, it's too easy. You just do a lot of cutting and pasting or copying and pasting. You won't learn. So that's why I emphasize so much on the attitude. The environment can change. You can change according to the environment. Or you can just be left behind by, and other people can overtake you. So the change, like I said, it will improve, and it should, which it has, in terms of quality of work that was produced. For example, back in 2004, when I read students' projects and compare them to now, I'm talking about the A students. Yeah, comparing the A students in 2004 and comparing the A students in 2021, the information that I am able to read through their assignments has greatly improved. I put that down to the development of this IT era. Yeah, but like I said, Alex, it depends so much on the attitude.
Well, that's very valuable. Because the attitude is what makes human beings different. Because I guess that is the part that it's ongoing development for even for myself as well. That is gold. Now the next one is how do you see the adaptation of traditional education system? That during your let's say that transition of growing from phase 1 to phase 2, in terms of the education adaptation, apart from attitude, what else required?
Well, like I said, the new era of IT capabilities, things like Zoom can come in, and if you go into the website to search for anything, you can find it. You even have better information than doctors and surgeons. Seriously, if you really go into it. Yeah, but of course you have to be careful about which are the fake news, which are the news that you can rely on, or which are the ones that you cannot rely on. In terms of, like I said, those ITs capabilities, they're just tools subject to your attitude, how you want to use them. And on the other hand, you get another category of people who are overwhelmed with all this information because it's so easily available and there's so much of it. They just get paralyzed. Instead of starting, they just stay paralyzed. I get many of these students who when told to do some research and they go into their Googles, there are millions after typing in the keywords, there are millions of sites coming out and they're just paralyzed. Just do not know how to proceed or progress, or they feel that they need to know everything before they start.
Yep, that's right.
So again, attitude plays a very, very critical role. I'm not quite sure I've answered your question in terms of phase 1, phase 2, what you were targeting at.
Okay, well, I think that question is a little bit out of the points, because what you gave me that answer is actually from another angle, which which really points out the human part of that phase 1 to 2, because the information age, like you say, is a tool, and so human has that ongoing struggle, which is distractions. And when there are so many options, the person will naturally set into analysis paralysis mode. And so there are too many options. They have no one clear directions to really start taking actions and get some result first, and they will just stay there. And perhaps, like, I think in your book as well, you wrote about, like, I don't know whether you mentioned about fear as well. Fear is one part that stops you because of analysis paralysis, and you just stop there because you don't want to make any mistakes. And so that's a very human, natural response. Now that's awesome, Dr. George. Now the last question is, what do you do? It's a very casual question. What do you do during your free time, and do you have any hobbies or preferred activities?
Oh, at my age, Alex, there's a lot I wanted to do, but or used to do, but now it's all changed. But actually, I've even retired from golf.
Oh,
Golf is supposed to be for an old person's game, but I've retired from that 10 years ago. What I do now, believe it or not, I've been doing Tai Chi, Chinese martial arts, Tai Chi, for a good 10, 15 years.
cool.
No, more than that. Nearly 20 years. Yes. So in my spare time, well, I try as much as possible, 3, 4 times, 5 times a week to practice my Tai Chi on my own. And the other thing that I like to do is, again, something that I have picked up about more than 10 years ago, and I stopped for about 9 years, and now I'm picking it up again. It's a Chinese musical instrument called erhu.
Okay.
Yeah, so now I spend time doing this, and I enjoy watching sports program. And of course, when I watch things, I tend to relate to those sports people in terms of achieving ambitions and goals. I really, really admire those champions who have put in so much effort to get where they are. And I admire that process, the sacrifices that they go through. It really amazes me all the time. And of course, I do a lot of readings on the website. And
Wow.
some of those readings you would not want to read because they are academic research. It can put you to sleep. But it's part and parcel of my job. So I've grown to enjoy them now. And yes, I do a lot of readings as well.
Well, that's awesome. Now the thing with Tai Chi, it's a breathing discipline, and it allows your body to be really in a calm state mode. So it kind of works around in a holistic approach. I might have to give it a try one day, because I'm really into, like, meditation as well, to calm the mind, so you get a better performance throughout the day. And then the erhu, because erhu is a strings instrument, right? And do you know Albert Einstein loves playing violin?
You're comparing me to Albert Einstein?
Yeah, well, what I found out, yeah, because I not kind of comparing, but because I do play instruments, but because of how the brains work, and it sparks certain parts of the brain with instruments, especially when it comes to, like, string and other notes instrument, it exercises on that part of the brain, and it creates, certain electrical stimulation on the brain, and that is how, from a couple of readings through Albert Einstein, like, he does do that during his spare time, just to really capture and get his ability to observe things much better. So that's really cool. Now,
Alex, since you touch on brain, I think that I should touch a little bit about brain, because there are a couple of chapters in the book that covers brain. Now, the reason I brought up brain in this book is because every one of us has a brain. And in terms of achieving goals and ambitions, so if we have our brain, each of us have our own brain, then we should be able to achieve our goals and ambition if we understand our brain a little bit more. So what I'm saying is, if you want to achieve your goal or your ambition, you can do it on your own. And you need to train your brain to help you. You have your left brain and the right brain, and if you synchronize them to work together, it's going to be awesome. So that's how that brain thing came into the book. So you have a brain, everybody has a brain. So it's a matter of training that brain and understand that brain so that you are able to go through that process of achieving that goal and ambition of yours.
Awesome. That is so good. Like spot on. Like because like the next thing I'm going to talk about, like how I actually, because by reading your books, I've get pretty much like some really like strong key points out of this book. And I believe anyone that go to the forest looking at chopping trees with the blunt and sharpened axe is pretty much gonna come back like wasted. So tools are so important. So like reminder with books like this, it will help sharpen the saw or axe in a better state. So when you go out chopping wood, you can come back with a more like obvious result. So like for me, for example, when I was reading that book last night, rereading again, I just found that really reflect back to me when I used to be complacent, ignorant, and stuck in a comfort zone, and have a lack of personal growth, and pretty much thinking everything will be fine. And so in the 2008, during the global financial crisis, which I think a lot of businesses been affected, even individual as well, and like I have my decade of savings wiped out due to the lack of effort and ignorance of market reality. So it is the biggest loss, but it is also the biggest turn point in my life. And so by just reading through that book, it flashed back where the first point and the second phase that I have gone through, and that is the biggest lesson that I have to pay. But then the turning point of that situation, I mean, everyone have two choices. Like you say, we have a brain, how we would choose to do with the brain, with our life, and that really helps with. I mean, I strongly encourage for people who are at their sort of stage. Doesn't matter where you're at. It doesn't matter small or medium or large sort of circumstances. It is, if you can do a small little things, you can do big things. So you got to start with small. So I think in this book, you have that like synchronizing the forces of intrinsic motivation, which is the left brain and right brain. And you just mentioned it, that is a really, really good observation to really look into and understand your brain and really polishing on that part. And also that ABA, which is the ambition, belief, and actions, which is the diagram I'm going to show here. That beliefs, ambition, and actions, I think that diagram is a fundamental of start for a person to really remind yourself that these are the three key pillars that you can start working on first. And also like there are obstacles as well. I mean, obstacles are awesome. You know, it really puts you in the perspective of like the reality. And so and thanks for the book, and really got a lot out of it. Is there anything else you would like to share, Dr. George, before we end this conversation?
A bit of marketing time. The book is also available in Amazon Kindle.com in the paperback format, as well as the ebook version, and it's also available in the audiobook format in audible.com. So 3 versions. For those who want to listen to book, it's available in audible.com. And for those who want to read using their handphones or laptop, it's available in the ebook format. And those who want to touch and maybe even a signed copy, then you have the paperback. And the Chinese version will be out pretty soon. Watch out for that. Watch the space.
Chinese version as well.
Yep.
Well, I might have to polish up my Mandarin now. And well, that's awesome. So we got all sorted, and the book is actually printed on a FSC recycled.
Alex.
Yes.
The Chinese title is 如何脱颖而出.
如何脱颖?
如何脱颖而出.
Wow, that's quite deep, eh?
That's the Chinese title.
Well, I might have to use Google Translate, eh? Now, yeah, well, anyone who wants to get hands on this book, and it's printed on a recycled and carbon neutral paper, it's environment friendly, and I've got first 5 person who reach out to me will receive a copy of a signed book. So all you do is just pay up postage and handling fees, and then you are good to go. Now I would like to thank you for your time, Dr. George, at the end, and it has been very valuable talking to you. I hope you have a good day and continue doing the amazing work to the community. And thanks again for joining this chat, and I hope you have a great day.
Thank you, Alex. Thank you, and honor talking to you. Pleasure talking to you too.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dr. George. Bye.
Bye.